For all she could guess, the ship was under attack, which left her to wonder if there was any safe place on board. The alien disappeared around another corner. By the time she got there, the hallway was empty. Meredith slumped against the wall. "Putrid, where did you go?" A doorway slid open inches from her arm, and the alien reached out for her. "In here!" As soon as she nearly fell into the room, Meredith knew where she was. Over in the distance, cubes sat stacked in neat, orderly rows, and many of them were still filled with creatures. "Come on!" The little creature grabbed her arm and jerked on it, leading her over to where the translucent cages were piled. At the sight of the cells, she halted. "You want me to get back inside one of those things? Fuck no!" "We must, Mary. They are safe. They will protect us." "I said no. Once those things are closed, I'll be locked inside again, and that ain't happening twice in my lifetime." Meredith scanned the room. On the opposite side of the dome-shaped structure appeared to be more doorways. She pointed to them. "Where do those go? Do you know?" Pudrith shook itself. "I am not familiar with that part of the ship. Please, Mary." It tugged on her shift. "Save yourself." The ship shuddered again, this time more violently. Meredith went flying into a pile of cubes which remained adhered firmly to the floor. However, the creatures inside were not as lucky, as they were all tossed about until many were left lying motionless. She searched the boxes for a sign of the little alien, finally spotting it crawling inside an empty cell. As she'd suspected, the lid immediately slid shut, sealing Pudrith inside. The hold was the worst place to be because of its vastness. Meredith could envision herself being thrown upward toward the high arched dome ceiling. If that happened, the resulting fall would kill her. "I gotta get out of here." She struggled to reach the doors at the other end of the room, but the first one she came to didn't respond. Neither did the second one. "Fuck!" She slammed her hand on a panel. Either she needed a code or the doors sealed automatically in case of emergencies. That left her with just two choices: back through the door she'd come in, or up. Meredith scanned the catwalk circling the room. She couldn't see any kind of ladder, which meant access had to be behind the door. Frustrated, she screamed again and hit the door with the side of her fist. She heard the telltale hum a second before the light struck the door. Automatically, she threw herself backwards and looked overhead to see what had fired at her. The creature was humanoid and immense in size. What she could see past the dark gray uniform were the wide shoulders and powerful chest. The neck was so thick it extended from beneath the pointed ears to the clavicle. Pointed ears. She froze in place. The alien also remained where he stood, a large silver tube held at its waist. He was a dark reddish-brown, nearly the same color as the walls in the pleasuring room. Jet black hair or fur swept down to his shoulders. His eyes were an indistinguishable hue at this distance, but the nose was wide and flat. Thick lips jutted above a square jaw, and a pair of glistening white tusks braced the bottom edges of its mouth. Meredith glanced back up at the thing's face, but he was no longer staring at her. His wide-eyed gaze was directed downward, down at her. Her hands clutched the jeweled waistlet, and a look of sheer joy came over the being's countenance. Her heart leaped. "It's him!" She started to lift her hand to wave at him when he raised the silver tube, aimed it directly at her, and fired.